At Walgreens, we know flu season can feel a little chaotic. So we're going to give you our flu info
in a meditation, keeping you calm, just like a certified Walgreens pharmacist will do if you're a little nervous. So walk in or schedule an appointment, and Walgreens will handle the rest.
That's the human kind of help. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability. State, age, and health-related restrictions may apply.
Welcome to the Covert Narcissism podcast. I'm your host, Renee Swanson. I am not a therapist, and you are not a victim. Today, I want to talk about resentment. It's such an ugly emotion, right? It's the one we're told to purge with gratitude journals and deep breathing. Don't hold on to resentment, they say, as if it's a piece of gum you can just spit out and walk away from it. It's more like a piece of gum stuck to your shoe that you can never seem to get rid of. Resentment is what happens when your needs are ignored for so long that your soul starts banging pots and pans in the kitchen just to get your attention. It is not easy to get your soul to put those pots and pans down. Today, we are talking about that. Why resentment builds in covert narcissistic relationships long before you even understand what's happening. How it turns inward once you start blaming yourself, and how you can finally work with your resentment instead of against it. Welcome back to the Covert Narcissism podcast, where we shine light on the hidden dynamics that twist love into control and peace into confusion. Resentment doesn't just appear one day like, hey, guess who showed up uninvited? Anger will do that, absolutely. Anger comes fast and furious, and it comes in fast, and it a lot of times will leave just as fast. But resentment is not like that. It builds slowly and quietly. It's more like the mold behind the drywall. At first, you're just tired. You've been giving everything you have, trying to make the relationship work. You're patient, you're kind, you're bending over backwards just to accommodate them. You're forgiving to the point of sainthood, and still nothing ever actually gets better. You don't ever actually feel closer to them. You start to notice little things, that they do the very things they accuse you of doing, and that gets irritating, but yet we still notice. They never apologize. Not really. At least when they do, you never feel better or closer to them. They play the victim after every argument. They seem to enjoy your guilt or discomfort just a little too much, as if it justifies their actions and their attitudes. And deep down, something inside you whispers, this is not right. But the problem is you've been trained to silence that voice. So you shove it down. You blame those feelings of resentment on your own stress level. You're tired. You've been, working a little too hard, haven't gotten enough sleep. Maybe even you blame it on your hormones. You think maybe if I just tried a little harder, or maybe if I had a little more self-care, then I would feel loving again. So resentment kind of steals you from feeling loving towards them, but you're confused because you don't know why you don't feel love towards them. But how can you feel love when you're constantly walking on eggshells? When you're constantly monitoring their words? When you're constantly stuffing your feelings inside? How can you feel attraction when every interaction leaves you emotionally bruised? You can't. And that's not coldness on your part. It's self-preservation. Because when your body and mind have spent years bracing for criticism, rejection, or withdrawal, you stop associating that person with safety. Your body stops associating that person with safety. Your nervous system has learned that letting your guard down leads to pain, not connection. So it builds a wall, not out of spite, but out of survival. That wall is not a lack of love. It's your body saying, I can't keep getting hurt like this. It's what happens when affection becomes dangerous and trust has been eroded one subtle dismissal at a time. Your system is simply protecting the last pieces of you that still know what peace should feel like. You can't feel loving towards somebody who keeps pushing you away. It's like deciding you can make peace with living your life beside a jackhammer. That jackhammer is going to get under your skin. It's going to irritate you. You can't do it. But then you feel guilty. Why am I not attracted anymore? Why can't I feel loving in this relationship? Why can't I feel safe? What's wrong with me? I'm going to tell you that nothing is wrong with you. You're just tired of being treated like a disappointment factory. And then one day you do see it. Your eyes open up. Maybe it's a podcast episode that hits a little too close to home. Maybe it's a conversation with a friend. Maybe it's that one moment when their mask slips and you realize, oh my gosh, this isn't love. This is control. And suddenly the floodgates open. Now you are full of resentment. But now you're not just resentful about last night's silent treatment. You're resentful about the last 20 years of them. The wasted time, the emotional Olympics you performed just to keep peace, the countless times you stood up for them to other people because, they just don't understand. You look back and think, how did I not see it? And here's where resentment doubles down. You resent them for what they did, but yet you also resent yourself for letting it happen. But here's the truth you need to hear. You didn't let it happen. You were manipulated into a reality where the abuse was disguised as love, where patience was praised and boundaries were punished. Of course you stayed. You were trying to love them the way you wished that someone had loved you and the way you wished you could love them. So resentment is your soul finally realizing that it's been carrying someone else's mess for way too long. Now let's be clear here. Resentment is not moral failure. It's actually information. It's your body way of saying, hey, something mattered here. Something important was crossed or taken away or ignored or dismissed. When you are being abused, manipulated, criticized, invalidated, ignored, yelled at, it's not supposed to feel good. Your system feels bad because it wants you to do something about it. When you think about the fight or flight mode and how it feels inside your body, it doesn't feel good, right? Well, it isn't supposed to. If your body feels good when you're standing in front of a bear in the woods, you might stop and try to take a picture of it. No, your system is screaming at you to run. The fight or flight mode is not supposed to feel good. Your system wants to protect you. Even when the abusive behavior is subtle and gradual, your system is still doing the same thing. And you can only suppress it for so long before you start paying for this. Your body will get your attention. Okay, this starts showing up in mental distress or in physical issues within your body. Well, that rebellion that your body is putting you through, that's resentment. Think of it as your emotional check engine light. You can ignore it and hope it goes away, but I don't know if that's ever worked out too well for you to ignore your check engine light. In your car, and just, it'll go away eventually. Well, that doesn't usually, work out too well. Well, the same thing is true of your body. Your emotional check engine light is not going to just go away if you ignore it long enough. You might need to actually pop the hood and look at what's wrong here. What is your system trying to tell you? And here's where I'm going to be just a little bit snarky. The people who tell you, you just need to forgive. They're usually not the ones who've lived through emotional warfare disguised as a marriage. Forgiveness is a beautiful thing, yes, and I'm not going to tell you that it's not. But it is not an escape hatch from feeling the truth. Your body is still going to feel the wounds that are there. Forgiveness without actually acknowledging those wounds is just spiritual bypassing with a pretty bow on top. Resentment is trying to protect you from stepping into this again, from doing that again, putting yourself in that situation for the silent treatment or the gaslighting.
This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
At Walgreens, We know flu season can feel a little chaotic. So we're going to give you our flu info
In a meditation, keeping you calm, just like a certified Walgreens pharmacist will do if you're a little needle nervous. So walk in or schedule an appointment, and Walgreens will handle the rest.
That's the human kind of help. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability. State, age, and health-related restrictions may apply.
Again, it's your body's way of saying, don't you dare minimize this pain just to keep the peace. So what do we actually do with resentment? Because we can't just let it drive the bus, okay? That's not going to work. It's not very good with navigating your life. So here are some tools, some steps that you can take to work through your resentment. Number one is name it without shame. You are allowed to say, I resent what happened. Say it out loud. Whisper it if you need to. Write it down in your journal. Tell it to your phone. Resentment loses power when it is acknowledged. You don't have to pretend that, you don't have to white knuckle this and pretend like it's not affecting you, that it's not impacting you. You don't have to perform forgiveness for anyone. It is okay to say, hey, this hurt and this upset me, and I don't feel good about it. Number two is separate the emotions. You can resent someone's behavior and still grieve the love that you wish you had, the love that you wish could have existed with them. Those emotions can coexist together. It's okay to resent and be upset about what they did and still grieve and be sad about what you lost. The grief says, I miss what I hoped for. Resentment says, I'm angry that it wasn't real. Both of these are valid. Number three is stop turning it inward. We are masters of self-blame, aren't we? You resent yourself for being naive, for staying too long, for not seeing it, for believing the words, the tears, the promises. But I want you to remember, you were not foolish. You were loyal. And they exploited that loyalty. Resentment towards yourself often softens when you start seeing the manipulation for what it is. Number four is write a resentment release letter. I love this one. Now, no sending it. Don't put postage on it. And I'm going to say don't even edit it. This is just a brain dump. Just pure, unfiltered truth. I want you to write a letter of what you wish they understood, of what you wish you could say to them, of what you still wish would have been different. And then you can read it out loud to yourself, cry if you need to, yell if you want to, burn it, tear it, keep it, whatever helps you to reclaim your voice. That letter is not for them. It's for the part of you that still thinks that you have to hold it all together inside, that you have to keep this all in. No, it's time to get it out. Number five, let resentment become a compass. You need to take that resentment and ask yourself, okay, what boundary is this pointing me to? Resentment is often a clue that you're overextended, overexplained, that you overstayed. So when you feel resentment, instead of shaming yourself, thank it. Tell it, hey, message received. I need something different here. One day, that resentment will shift. All of a sudden, you don't wake up angry anymore. You're just done. All of a sudden, you stop needing them to understand, or you stop needing the world around you to get it. You stop replaying old arguments. Boy, that's a freeing day when that happens. You stop trying to craft the perfect response, and you simply know your truth. And that's enough. That's not indifference. I'm going to tell you what it is. It's peace. Resentment fades when you stop betraying yourself for the sake of being the bigger person or being, strong and grateful and all the things that we're taught to be, forgiving and believing in the goodness of another person. All of that is good, yes. But when you stop betraying yourself for those things, it's okay to have those things, but be true to yourself too. So the next time someone says to you, you need to let that resentment go, you can smile politely and say, oh, I will. But first, I'm going to listen to what it's telling me. Because resentment is not the villain of your story. It's the narrator that helps you to rewrite it from here. Resentment is not your enemy. It's your evidence that this was not okay. It's the proof that you still have standards, that you have boundaries, that you matter, even after years of being told that your feelings were too much. You do not have to rush forgiveness, and you don't have to pretend that you're peaceful. You're allowed to honor the anger before you release it. And when you do, you'll find that the resentment melts, not because you force it to, but because you finally gave yourself the validation that they never did. Your story matters, and you deserve to be heard without judgment. I wish you so much peace on your journey of healing. You have been listening to the Covert Narcissism podcast, where we break apart the insidious nature of these incredibly destructive and infinitely frustrating individuals. If you are caught up in this crazy-making relationship and drowning in self-doubt, guilt, or rumination, please reach out to me anytime. I offer individualized live coaching in both group and individual settings. We can find the right program for you. You do not need to go through this alone. You can find all of that information on my website at covertnarcissism.com. You can also reach out to me by email at Renee, RENEE, at covertnarcissism.com. I do look forward to hearing from each and every one of you. Remember, I am not a therapist, and you are not a victim. I am a coach, and you are a survivor. The information provided by Renee Swanson, Covert Narcissism Podcast, and CNG Life Coaching is for educational purposes only and is not to be used for diagnosis purposes. It is not intended to be a substitute for clinical care. Please consult a healthcare provider for guidance specific to your case. This material discusses narcissism in general. Renee shares stories from her personal experience as well as from those that she has worked with for several years. Her material does not claim that any specific person has narcissism and should not be used to refer to any specific person as having narcissism. Permission is not granted to link to or repost this material to support an allegation or support a claim that any specific person is a narcissist. That would be an unauthorized misuse of the material and the information provided. Thank you.
La vida no se detiene cuando te enfermas. Las vacunas contra las enfermedades respiratorias pueden protegerte para que juegues con tu compañero fiel. Según tu edad y tu salud, podrían recomendarte vacunas contra la gripe, el COVID-19, el VRS o la infección neumocócica. Vacunarte puede ayudarte a seguir en el juego. Infórmate en cveep.org/ES/vacunas-protegen. Presentado por The American Lung Association y CVIP, combatiendo enfermedades respiratorias infecciosas.